What if hip-hop's ultimate kingmaker was never really pulling his own strings? In the next few minutes you'll hear about a too-drunk-to-sin defense, a hidden video the jury must watch, and a former teenage protege who's finally ready to talk. Stay with me, because the evidence the public was never meant to see is about to surface, and once it does, the question won't be whether Diddy falls. It'll be who falls with him. May 5th. Jury selection begins, and the stakes could not be higher. Federal prosecutors say racketeering, trafficking, and conspiracy frame a pattern that stretches back 3 decades. If even one count sticks, the sentence starts at 15 years and climbs toward life. How did we get here? September 2024. Homeland Security agents roll armored vans up to Diddy's mansions. In Los Angeles and Miami. March 2025. A third superseding indictment. Adds fresh victims and 2 new counts. April 25th. Judge Aaron Subramanian rejects every attempt to delay, declaring, quote, "Justice delayed is justice denied." And now, with cameras banned but microphones poised, the courtroom countdown has reached 0. But Diddy's opening move isn't not guilty. It's something far stranger, not responsible. Diddy's lawyers filed 2 emergency motions. That landed with an audible thud on the judge's bench. Motion 1. Diminished mental capacity. Their claim? Years of hard partying left the mogul so impaired he lacked the intent to commit crimes, while wasted on drugs and alcohol. They've recruited a psychiatrist ready to testify. That blackouts erased culpability. Motion 2. Suppress everything seized during last year's Homeland Security raids. The iCloud backups, the freak-off tapes, even the baby oil bottles. Logged into evidence. Defense counsel calls the warrants grossly distorted and constitutionally defective. Prosecutors answer with a shrug. 12 separate victims, multiple time-stamped devices, and a magistrate's signature make suppression a near-impossible dream. Judge Subramanian schedules a lightning-fast Dober hearing to test the psychiatrist and a separate review to vet the forensic warrants. Even if every hard drive vanished, the cameras were already rolling. And what they captured may prove harder to erase than any file. Picture a luxury hotel corridor in 2016. Cassie Ventura staggers, Diddy's hand locked in her hair, his foot lashing out. The assault lasts seconds. Its impact could last a lifetime. When CNN aired a 30-second excerpt, Diddy's team howled, edited, sped up, manipulated. They insisted the original 30-minute file was destroyed. Prosecutors fired back, producing authentication logs and a sworn statement from the phone operator who filmed the screen. Last week, the judge declared the copy admissible. Jurors will watch it, frame by frame, before opening arguments end. But that's only the highlight reel. Agents also recovered labelled drives marked Freakoff 2014, Baby Oil 06, and VIP only. Forensic techs say the metadata lines up perfectly, with flight records and hotel bills. Pictures grip jurors, yes, but voices can crush a defense. And the first voice belongs to a kid Diddy once called Little Brother. Flashback to 1993. 13-year-old Usher Raymond arrives in New York for what L.A. Reid cheerfully labels Puffy Flavor Camp. Usher later confesses the penthouse was, quote, filled with chicks and wild scenes I couldn't even comprehend. He claims he begged to record music, not club hop, and still developed insomnia that haunts him today. Rumours, unverified but persistent, speak of a late-night hospital visit. And injuries no child should suffer. Industry fixer. Gene deal, says staffers whispered. About a youngster sent to the ER bleeding from his butt. Again, that allegation remains unproven, but prosecutors have flagged the witness as potentially corroborative. Fast forward to 2018, court filings show Usher paid $1.1 million to settle a civil claim over herpes transmission. Legal analysts argue the payout underscores the long shadow of those formative years. Now, 3 decades later, Usher is ready to testify, and everything he describes in court could unlock a pattern wider than anyone guessed. But he isn't the only prodigy in Diddy's orbit. 2007. A 12-year-old Canadian named Justin Bieber goes viral on YouTube. A bidding war erupts between Usher and Justin Timberlake, and Usher wins, thanks, insiders say, to a promise of direct access for Sean Combs. According to music biz blogger Jaguar Wright, guardianship papers granted Diddy 48 hours of unsupervised time with Bieber in Atlanta. That claim remains unverified, yet industry veterans nod knowingly and mutter, same playbook. Over the next decade, Bieber skyrockets, then crashes into drug abuse, burnout, and on-camera meltdowns. In public, he laughs off the chaos. In private, he checks into therapy and quietly distances himself from both mentors. January 2024. Usher headlines the Super Bowl. Fans expect a surprise Bieber cameo. It never happens. Reporters learn the invitation was declined. Spring 2025. Bieber unfollows Usher on Instagram with no explanation. Will prosecutors subpoena Bieber? So far, no. But his absence speaks almost as loudly as a sworn statement, and while protégés drift away, Diddy's own defenders are abandoning ship. February 21st. Veteran capital case lawyer Anthony Rico files a terse 8-line motion. Under no circumstances can I continue to represent Sean Combs. The phrase ricochets through legal Twitter like a gunshot in marble corridors. Days later, entertainment powerhouse Grubman, Shire, Mycellus and Sachs drops Diddy. Rumour: Lady Gaga threatened to walk if the firm kept him. Fact: they'd repped him for 20 years, yet still stepped away. Running short on options, lead counsel Mark Agnifilo pivots to a new theme. Diddy is the victim of a system that fears a successful black entrepreneur. Legal scholars roll their eyes. The judge schedules briefing, but warns, race alone will not decide count 3. As the bench thins, prosecutors lay one more card on the table, a card Diddy refuses to touch. Behind closed doors on April 30th, federal agents offer Sean Combs a lifeline disguised as a poison pill. Take a plea, serve 10 to 12, and cooperate against unnamed industry figures. Decline and risk decades behind bars. Diddy barely glances at the paperwork before sliding it back across the table. Insiders whisper that accepting would mean testifying against at least one other label chief, a man whose name triggers non-disclosure clauses, up and down the Billboard charts. Legal analysts shake their heads. Rejecting a sweetener is bold. Doing it with this much evidence stacked high is closer to reckless. But maybe, just maybe, Combs believes the entire entertainment machine will collapse if he starts talking. Either way, the gambit locks the courtroom door, and the only way out now is through a verdict. Prosecutors hint that Diddy's trial is merely phase 1. Grand jury subpoenas have already landed. on desks at two rival labels demanding flight logs, private jet manifests, and after-party guest lists. Civil suits? 70 and counting, with new plaintiffs filing almost weekly. Streaming platforms quietly debate whether to keep Diddy's catalogue in rotation. Festivals scrub his name from lineups. Brands yank Ciroc billboards and DeLeon bottle displays. Meanwhile, the hashtag #MeToo in music surges back to life, under a harsher spotlight than ever. Veteran journalist Toure warns, if the freak-off tapes hit open court, you could see RICO indictments ripple through half a dozen executive suites. Former interns whisper they're ready to talk. Podcasters prepare bonus episodes. Activists print signs that read, VIP no more. So if you think this saga ends with one verdict, think again. Because once the jury speaks, the aftershocks will rumble, from Beverly Hills to Wall Street. Sean Diddy. Combs built an empire on swagger, spectacle, and the promise of freedom. Now he faces a courtroom where freedom is a coin he cannot spend. When the tapes roll and the witnesses talk, it won't just be one man on trial. It will be an entire era of music history. Drop your theories in the comments, hit subscribe, and smash that notification bell, because every day of this trial promises a twist Hollywood never scripted. The verdict is coming, and when it lands, the echoes might be louder than the beats.